Welcome to Movie Slice. Quick fun recaps of your favorite movies. Sharp. Funny. And to the point. In this alternate version of the United States, a military coup has transformed the nation into a totalitarian dystopia. The only figure of authority is a man known as the Major. Eventually, the regime introduces a deadly contest called the Long Walk, where the winner earns fame, fortune, and one wish for anything they desire. The entire event is broadcast on national television, and for many, it's their only chance to escape poverty. Volunteers sign up for the competition, and a lottery selects 50 participants. The sole competitor from Maine is Ray, who is driven to the event by his mother, Ginny. The atmosphere in the car is tense, and Ginny wishes Ray would reconsider, but Ray reminds her it's not her decision to make. Upon arrival, Ginny hugs Ray tightly, breaking down as she says goodbye. Afterward, Ray enters through the front gate and meets Peter, who is very friendly. Most of the participants seem amicable, and soon they're all chatting while waiting for the event to begin. Curly keeps pacing, trying to hide his nerves, and the others notice how young he looks. He claims to be 18, but no one believes him. Soon the Major arrives and hands each boy a metal tag with their assigned number, declaring that they are men now. He then delivers a speech, reminding them that the Long Walk was created to inspire and reintegrate the value of work ethic in a country struggling financially since the war. Every year after the event, there's a spike in production. The Major truly believes this works, and that the nation's problem is simply laziness. While he speaks, the competitors receive bracelets to measure their speed. Next, the Major explains the rules. Everyone must walk until only one person remains. There is no finish line. They must maintain a speed of 3 miles per hour. If they fall below that, they receive a warning. If they can't regain speed within 10 seconds, they get another warning. After 3 warnings, they will be shot. Stepping off the pavement results in being shot without warning. The Major concludes his speech by leading a cheer and firing his gun to officially start the competition. The boys begin walking, followed by military trucks that record everything. The area is empty and bleak, as crowds are only permitted on the final stretch. At the start, only locals can come out to watch. A police officer salutes as the boys pass, and an irritated Gary flips him off and spits on the ground. Initially, everyone is serious and focused, but by mile 5, many are chatting. Steban slows down slightly and receives a warning, quickly correcting his pace. The others wonder if he was testing the limits. Gary stops to remove a rock from his shoe and quickly receives warnings from the soldiers. After the 3rd warning, a soldier prepares to shoot, but Gary puts his shoe back on just in time and keeps moving. The others think he's foolish, but Gary claims he did it to get some rest. By mile 7, the boys are discussing the prize. Arthur admits he's only here for the money, but Ray insists there are more important things. The others are skeptical, so Ray launches into a rant about the system. The government makes them believe they're volunteering, but in reality, the system has made them so poor and desperate that they have no better choice. Some boys warn against criticizing the Long Walk on camera, but Peter is impressed and agrees they should use the prize money to help others. Peter lights a cigarette. Hank tells him it's a bad idea, but Arthur asks for a share. Their banter is interrupted by Richard, who is recording everyone's names and numbers because he wants to write a book about the Long Walk to become famous. Peter thinks it's pointless since the winner will already be rich and famous. Later, Curly cries out in pain from a leg cramp, slows down, and is warned by soldiers. Ray helps Curly walk, with Peter encouraging him. Motivated, Curly tries to keep going, but collapses from the pain. After the 3rd warning, a soldier shoots Curly in the head. The shock causes Ray to slow down and receive a warning, so Peter pushes him to move faster. Moments later, the Major appears on the road to give a speech about Curly, saying a comrade has fallen and should be remembered for his bravery. Ray asks a soldier to refill his canteen and touches the man's gun as a good luck gesture. When Peter needs to relieve himself, he simply urinates in the middle of the road. By mile 17, they see a girl by the roadside holding a sign and cheering for Ray. The other boys tease him about having a fan, although she's too young. Suddenly, a boy has a seizure and collapses. Soldiers begin issuing warnings as Gary jumps over him, mocking him for hiding medical issues. The soldiers soon shoot the sick boy, and Gary says everyone should be glad there's less competition. At mile 25, Gary starts harassing a boy named Rank, who initially tries to ignore him. When Gary insults his mother, Rank becomes angry and tries to punch him. Gary dodges all the blows, and Rank ends up falling hard on the ground. He doesn't get up in time, and the soldiers shoot him. The other boys start yelling at Gary and blaming him for what happened, saying they can't wait until he's eliminated too. Later, a boy has to lower his pants so he can poop while walking. No matter how much he tries to keep moving, he still slows down, and the soldiers shoot him as well. By mile 35, the major shows up again to congratulate them for making it through their first night, using lots of buzzwords to convince them this is a noble cause. Ray starts dozing off and dreams about his mother. The soldiers give him a warning when he slows down, and Peter has to wake him up. The boys chat about their families as they walk, and Ray accidentally slows down again, receiving a second warning. Ray speeds up, but after a few steps, he stumbles and gets his third warning. Now he'll have to walk without mistakes for 3 hours to clear his warnings. Peter tries to be supportive, but Ray is nervous and snaps, accusing Peter of only pretending to care. At that moment, the group reaches a steep hill that makes walking much harder. Soon, everyone is getting tired, and several boys fall, leading to them being shot. Ray tries to ignore all the death behind him, but has to deal with Gary mocking him. Eventually, Ray starts to slow down, but Peter catches him just in time. Ray is grateful and apologizes for his earlier outburst. In the morning, the boys reach mile 59. After all the deaths on the hill last night, only 18 players remain. By mile 67, Hank is barely hanging on. Peter tries to check on him, but Hank snaps and tells him off. Meanwhile, Richard has been walking with a twisted ankle, and he's finally slowing down. The soldiers warn him, and Ray tries to encourage him to keep moving, but Richard can't take it anymore and collapses. A soldier shoots him in the head while 2 children watch nearby. When the walk reaches 100 miles, the major reappears to congratulate them. A boy tries to use the opportunity to escape by running into a building, but the soldiers immediately shoot him. At mile 103, the boys discuss what they'll do with their wish, and Peter says he'd ask for 2 winners instead of 1. Ray wants to change the entire system, but the others point out that the wish can't directly alter the state. They get frustrated and start cursing the major and the competition. In the evening, it starts raining heavily. Ray can barely stay awake, so Peter helps him walk. In the morning, they reach mile 144, and Arthur stops to poop. The soldiers quickly warn him, so he has to keep going before finishing. The boys keep chatting to help forget their exhaustion, so Ray decides to tell Peter about his dad, whom he considers his hero. His father used to teach him illegal subjects like philosophy, and the government considered him a traitor. The major himself asked him to stop his lessons and swear loyalty, but Ray's father refused and was immediately executed. Ray then reveals his secret. He joined the long walk to wish for a gun and kill the major. He complains about the people by the road who enjoy watching them suffer, but Peter reminds him they're victims of the system too. They've been conditioned to believe this is noble. By mile 170, nobody is in the mood to chat. A boy with bleeding feet can't take it anymore and begs the soldiers for help as he tries to climb onto a tank. A soldier immediately knocks him down, and the tank runs over his legs. He still receives warnings as he screams in pain and is eventually shot in the head. The scene causes another boy to lose his mind. He takes off his clothes and runs off the road, which gets him shot too. Hank then notices he's lost a tooth. In the evening, the group reaches mile 201 and Hank is barely standing. Ray tries to encourage him, but Hank is done. He turns around and approaches the soldiers in a truck, which gets him shot on the spot. A devastated Arthur runs to hold his friend as he dies and receives a warning, so Ray has to pull him away to save him. The next morning, they reach mile 209 with only 6 boys left. They remember Hank had a wife and agree that the winner will donate some of the prize money to her. Their conversation doesn't include Gary, who starts feeling left out. He approaches Ray and reveals that Hank's death has been haunting him since it happened, but he never truly meant for the boy to die. Gary apologizes, but also insists it wasn't his fault. He promises to donate money to Hank's wife, too, so the group agrees to include him in their camaraderie. As they keep walking, Gary goes on a rant about the situation, clearly unable to handle the guilt. After snapping at the others, He walks ahead and uses a spoon to self-harm. The soldiers still give him warnings and shoot him in the head as usual. At mile 260, the boys try to lift their spirits by singing. On the 5th day, they reach mile 278 and take the road to Ray's hometown. Kali thinks Ray is lucky because he'll get to see his mother, but Ray thinks it's a curse because he'll have to leave her again. By mile 286, they start crossing the town, and one of Ray's boots comes apart. Arthur points out that an uneven balance will make things harder, so Ray takes off both shoes, revealing his feet have been bleeding. When he sees Ginny nearby, Ray can't help himself and runs to try to hug her. Ginny steps back and urges him to stay on the road, while Peter pulls Ray just in time to stop the soldiers from shooting. Ray yells a final apology to his crying mother, as he realizes he's no better than his father. As the walk continues, Peter tells Rai about his own family. His parents died during the war, and he was sent to live with his uncle, who beat him until he died when Peter was 10. Afterward, Peter had to survive on the streets by stealing and fighting. One day during a fight, his opponent slashed his face with a knife, and Peter ended up in the hospital. He blamed himself for what happened, and that day, he promised to always find the light, even in the darkest times. If he wins, he'll use the money to help orphans. By mile 306, Stebbins points out that they shouldn't help each other anymore, or this will never end. The others agree, even though it makes them feel awful. When Arthur's nose starts bleeding, the others have to pretend not to care. This causes Key to snap. He runs ahead and steals a gun from a soldier to shoot Arthur to death. The boys are devastated as they watch Key get shot down in return. Key refuses to let them have his death too, and ends his own life before they can finish him. At mile 324, Arthur's nosebleed gets worse. Peter and Ray drop the deal and help him walk, but Arthur knows he doesn't have much time left. He begs his friends to give his locket to his grandmother if they win. Arthur also asks them not to turn around before he pulls away from them. He walks toward the truck and the soldiers quickly kill him. Night falls by mile 326. The three final players cross a bridge while the Major keeps talking to them. Ray is annoyed and starts insulting him, but the Major isn't bothered. He thinks those are the killer instincts needed by a winner. Stebbins uses the chance to reveal that he's one of the Major's dozens of illegitimate sons and wishes to live in his father's house. However, he can feel his organs failing and wants this to end already. Stebbins says it's been an honor to walk with them and that he's happy the winner will be Peter or Ray. Then he stops walking and the soldiers shoot him down, with his father showing no care. Moments later, it starts to rain. Ray admits he used to be afraid of death, but after seeing so many boys die, he isn't afraid anymore, because this moment is important. By mile 331, the duo reaches a town where a huge crowd is cheering for them. Peter stops and says he wants to give up so Rai can reunite with his mother, but Rai refuses and convinces him to keep going. Then Peter walks ahead, unaware that Rai has stopped behind him. Soon the soldiers shoot him down, and Peter tries to come back for him, but since he's the winner, the soldiers drag him away. Ray tells Peter that he loves him and apologizes to his mother before the Major appears to execute the final shot that kills him. The crowd cheers and fireworks fill the sky while Peter has a breakdown. The Major congratulates Peter and asks for his wish. Peter says he wants a soldier's gun so he can pass it to his kids one day as a symbol of his victory. The soldiers are wary, but the Major tells them to grant his wish since Peter is a good man. As soon as Peter grabs the gun, he points it at the Major, who tries to calm him down and reminds him of the fame and fortune. A crying Peter simply replies, "This is for Ray," before shooting the Major on the spot. Then he drops the gun and walks away. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications so you can watch more videos like this. Thanks for watching.